Hey, it's Matt, your average gamer. For this video, we're going to be going over a very specific build for Wylder. If you're struggling with Wylder, I have a great build for you, a very specific one relic-wise. A lot of the stuff you'll be able to do with Wylder's Remembrance as well because it gives you his abilities, but we're going to go over all the extra abilities you get, combine it together, and I have a build that I put together with, again, specific relics that are going to give you a lot of damage from his abilities, frost build up, and all around make Wylder an incredibly powerful character. First, I want to state that Wylder's really fun. He's a very fun character to play as because he's easy to pick up and learn. First things first, I want to talk about one of the abilities you can get, I'm pretty sure from his Remembrance, but as well as you could also random roll it. And that is going to be the follow-up attack on the Great Sword after your grapple. It's absolutely amazing. We're also going to showcase and talk about how you can get that extra fire on the ground from your ultimate, all the extra abilities combining it together to give you a build that's both fire and frost on a single weapon for Wylder. I've only done one other build for Wylder, but this is by far my best so far. I went and hopped back in Nightreign. I hopped back on Nightreign for a couple different characters to try out a few different things, and Wylder ended up having a blast as it's really incredible when you run a build like this one, how much damage you're going to end up getting, because you're going to get a lot of posture damage, a lot of fire damage, of course that frost build up too, and consistency is key here. Most of the Nightlords are going to take good frost damage, good fire damage, etc. So you're going to have a character that's consistently good from the start of the game to the end of it. Real quick though, in the comments below, are you running Wylder? What character are you currently running in Nightreign? I am curious as to who your favorite character is. I'm considering doing maybe a couple more guides, so if you write out your favorite character, I may do a guide for that character. Let me know in the comments below. So we're showing off on the Hippo here. We're going to get a decent amount of damage, of course, with Wylder's Greatsword. We have it in purple for this run, and yeah, you get a lot of damage out of it. His weapon is fine all the way to the end game. You can get another Greatsword if you feel, it fits your build, as long as it's able to have that follow-up attack, which is going to be regular greatswords, and that's that fire follow-up after the grapple ability. That really is key here. That's like the number one thing you're going to want to consistently do. Of course, for Ash of War, we have the standard one, which I believe is just going to be Stamp Upward Cut. It does good poise damage. I do try to use it at times. It is hard to land with the quickness of some of these bosses. I noticed that compared to games like Elden Ring, Dark Souls, etc., the bosses here move so fast because you have 3 players and it's just meant to be all sped up, so it's hard to land some of the slower Ashes of War, but if you do land it, you can get a ton of poise damage, and of course get a lot of poise damage from the follow-up on the grapple too. And we're going to showcase it again here on the Lion. Here's the grapple, here's the follow-up attack. A lot of damage there. Good amount of damage every time. This is early, I believe. We were probably only, level 4 or so? And we're still getting great damage right from the get-go with his sword. I think this is going to be either basic upgraded or blue. And yeah, it's really amazing right from the start. You can just continue to upgrade his weapon, use that follow-up attack, use the fire ability for extra damage, and then of course we have frost build up too, which is absolutely insane combining that in. By the way, I'll show the exact relics at the end. Everything's going to be timestamped in the description. Whenever you watch my videos, they're always timestamped. Some people will talk about, I yap a little too much, etc. Well, if you never have time to watch the whole thing, all the information's always there for you in the description and the timestamp, so there should be no worries there. Back to this, we're going to fight some Crucible Knights. I want to show off the build a little bit more. Of course, for this, we're going to use a lot of light attacks, charge attacks, and mixing in the grapple attack. By the way, Wylder's Remembrance is something you're going to want to do because you can get a lot of these abilities, so keep that in mind. If for some reason you can't random roll them, do his Remembrance. I just haven't gotten the time to do all the characters' Remembrance. I think I've done like 3 of them in total. I thought I did Wylder. Maybe I started it, I didn't finish it. Doesn't matter though, because I was able to random roll 3 great relics that I actually love running as him, so I'm not too motivated to run those other ones right now. What I have currently is really good in my opinion. But yeah, if you can do his Remembrance, no question about it, it's absolutely awesome, and it will help you for sure because it'll give you those abilities. But if you can random roll something similar to the one that I'm going to show at the end here, you're going to be able to get fire, frost, and a ton of physical damage. Great all-around build for Wylder. And continuing on the Crucible Knights here, I want to mention this too as a tip for people that really don't understand this. When you have enough time, you know it. When you have a good team, they'll know when they have enough time. When that circle starts to close in, if you're close to where the circle's closing in, you maybe have time to take one more smaller boss or enemy, but do not do it in like an overkill sense. Like, don't go crazy trying to take out everything in the castle as the circle's closing in. Do what you can with your group, Pay attention to the circle. At least one person should be paying attention to it. And of course, if you're with randoms, make sure you mark to get out of there soon if the circle closes in too fast. I've seen a ton of groups die when they do not have enough time to complete or defeat a boss. It was really close here. We got lucky, but personally, I really wouldn't have wanted to ran it this close. These guys were really good though, so I was fairly confident. But even with that said, I wouldn't have wanted to run it to the point where the circle was right on top of us. In this case, it was. If he was any more difficult to take down, we probably wouldn't have made it. Just a piece of advice and something I'm seeing over and over again in Nightreign, especially with random groups. They tend to fight the boss all the way until the circle's closing in without realizing how close it is and how difficult it can be to get out of it. Another thing is, if you don't have a grace until like where the circle's closing in on the tree, if you don't have a grace along the way, a lot of times you do, but sometimes you don't, it's very, very difficult to heal up as well. Let's continue to talk about his power-up ability, his ultimate, etc., using it on our boss here, and we're going to showcase some more, talk about fire damage, and all the cool things you can do with Wylder. So there's his ultimate right there. When you have that extra ability, it's going to leave a ton of fire damage on the ground. Once you leave that fire damage on the ground, you can then use your follow-up attack for even more fire damage. You can see here for great damage overall. Continue with your light attacks, etc. And of course, continue with your frost build-up, which is innately on the weapon. Now, fire will reset frost. Frost is an excellent debuff, but you could also get chunk damage running a build like this one too, especially if you have allies that are also running frost. Yeah, this was my most fun build as Wylder for sure. It was just an absolute blast being able to use that grapple and everything. And we have 2 grapples, by the way. That's the other thing. We can use that twice. That's another thing that you can do if you get the right abilities for it. So we can use the grapple twice. We have the follow-up attack. We have the massive explosion on his ultimate art. Everything pretty much hits together, does really great damage. And then on top of everything else, we've added additional dexterity, strength, and of course the frost innately on the weapon as well, giving us an all-around build for Wylder that is incredibly reliable. Of the 4 matches I played with him last night, I won 3 of those matches and lost 1. The only one I lost was against the altered version of Gaping Jaw, which I guess I haven't gotten down yet. I haven't really tried him that many times, to be fair. But yeah, the 3 other bosses, I think it was the Dog, Augur, and Sentient Pest will be the one at the end of this video. That one we beat too. That was the hardest one of the 3, though. The other 2 are kind of cake. But anyway, back to this. We're taking on the Tree Sentinel here. You're going to see more damage, and the idea of kind of the concept for this build of what we're doing here. You're going to drag in the grapple as much as you can. You can also use that grapple to quickly use the follow-up and then spam your ultimate right afterwards. You can do a lot of punishment to a boss that way, and most of the time, you'll poise break them too. Yeah, I'm starting to love Wylder. His class overall, pretty awesome. It's an amazing class, in my opinion. A lot of fun. If you're looking for a fun time, there's a lot of characters in Nightreign that can be fun, no question about it. I kind of want to redo a Guardian guide, too, because I like him, but he needs a buff. I still think he needs a buff, though, before I do too much with him, because he just feels a little bit underwhelming, but he is really fun to use. Wylder himself, though, when I rank the classes, I'll leave my ranking in the description below. I put him as number 2 because he's so easy to pick up and learn and so easy to get damage out of. He really, like Iron Eye for me, is one of those characters where once you play as him right away, you're going to know what to do, and if you start to build around him the right way, you're going to do a great amount of damage, and the game's going to get a lot easier. And here's the mini version of Augur. I remember the first time I got trapped in with this boss, I was like in fear because it was just me. Like, it was a 3-man group. I went into it by accident. They weren't that far away, but nobody else ended up in it. I soloed the thing first try, and I was like, oh, that's not that bad. And then I got to the final boss one time on a different run for Augur, and I realized how easy he is. He truly is one of those bosses that just needs a buff. And much like Guardian that I was just talking about, yeah, he does need a buff. But now I wanted to talk about hard-to-hit bosses, though. You're going to use the grapple more so often than ever, and then try to get that follow-up attack. That's going to be your best bet if stuff is flying around on you. It can be a little bit difficult as Wylder to hit bosses like Augur because he moves around a lot and he stays above you. Definitely a boss made more so for Iron Eye. But as far as Wylder goes, if you continue to use that grapple, slide around and everything, you'll get enough hits on him, enough poise damage, and once you get that break in, it's all about punishment after that break. You could just punish the boss and get in damage. All right, now let's talk about a Nightlord. Of course, for this one, we'll be showing off Sentient Pest. Sentient Pest is really cool. It's a really difficult boss for many people. I want to state that one person ends up lagging out, so there's a little bit of a bug in the middle of this fight where we end up able to hit the boss more times than we should have been able to hit the boss because he freezes for a total of like 10 or 15 seconds. I guess that could happen if somebody lags out, but yeah, he ended up lagging out and did rejoin, thankfully. But yeah, back to this boss. At the beginning, I was trying different weapons, but of course I went back to my greatsword, which was only blue for this boss fight. I wish we would have stopped at a cave and got it to purple. Overall, though, we still end up with really good damage. Of course, you have that frost build up and everything too, and a great build for Wylder. Yeah, all around, I'm now loving this class. I really think that if you're looking for a fun time and you're just starting out, Wylder could absolutely be for you. Here we use the grapple attack. We're able to get the follow-up fire attack on the, I guess, moth or butterfly, whatever it is. This is a really cool-looking boss. I want to mention that. I really do like the aesthetics here on this boss. It's very, very detailed. So, once again, we're going to continue constantly, when we can, using that grapple, using that follow-up, and then, of course, waiting for our ultimate, because once we get that ultimate ability, we're going to be able to do a lot of fire damage. I do think I end up in this clip using the ultimate at an inopportune time. I started charging it right before he does the part where he takes reduced or no damage, which was unfortunate. But overall, you're going to be leaving fire on the ground. You can see the other Wylder has it as well. You're definitely going to want that ability for Wylder if you want to excel as him. I think most people are going to run that, but here it was. I actually hit the button. There was a little bit lag as he was going down, and then, yeah, I end up using the ultimate at probably the most inopportune time there. But anyway, and then I got hit by the moth because I was just kind of really disappointed with when I used it. But yeah, overall, it's going to give you a lot of damage, especially to a boss like this one. You just got to time it right. And now we're back, of course, at the point where once you target something that's moving, you should try to, in this case, I'm healing up, use the grapple as much as you can, go for that follow-up fire attack. It's basically getting Flaming Strike on your weapon for free because it's going to coat your armament with fire additionally afterwards, and that's going to give you more damage as well. Alright, Sentient Pest can be a pain though, for sure. He's definitely not the easiest boss in the game. When I ranked the bosses, I think I had him at number 4 from easiest to hardest. He is fairly difficult. He's definitely on the moderate to hard difficulty, I think, for most people. It's because you're fighting two different things. They kind of change what they do consistently, and even when they combine together, you're likely to get spammed by magic on the top part, and the bottom part is going to be doing ground slams, which a lot of the bosses do. And of course, I probably did have better weapons to run in this clip too, because I didn't get to purple. We didn't end up hitting a cave, unfortunately. I recommend always getting that purple stone, because if you run that purple stone with Wylder, you're going to do phenomenal. But you're going to slide around. You're not always going to land it, but you're going to want to consistently use that grapple to get closer to the boss. And it could also get you out of trouble too. If you think it's going to be really difficult in terms of the boss, if you grapple towards the back of the boss, a lot of times you can get behind him, avoid all the attacks. You're going to see the poison on screen here, and that's what I was doing. I was getting out of that poison to try to get back in and damage the boss. This is where the boss suddenly froze up. Didn't even know this was something that can happen. I'm on PC. Apparently, the guy was lagging out. Eventually, he left and came back. Boss just kind of stands here, so I didn't really know what to do here. I obviously hit the boss, but it was kind of like a little bit disappointing for a section here. I was like, what are we doing here? But yeah, this happened, and the boss froze for a little while, and of course the boss is going to on-freeze. There's the frost proc there, of course, that we get. I love having that on the weapon. That fire frost ability is really cool. It's really fun to run with Wylder too. Having that on the weapon, on an individual singular weapon, basically that you start with, is phenomenal. And not something I see often as somebody's lagging out. He does come back, though. We had a good team comp with 3 Wylders overall, running, of course, the grapple, the extra tap. These were with randoms. All the clips, I think I did 2 or 3 different runs in here. They're all with randoms. I've been playing it with a lot of random groups, trying to make it work. I do play with friends on occasion, but sometimes you just want to jump into a game or two with randoms, especially if you don't want to play for a long time or you don't have, like, too much time. Maybe you only have an hour or two. It's kind of great for that. I just wish they'd add some level of communication, even if it was a text box or chat box, etc. Basically anything in terms of communication more than what they have now. I don't think you need voice chat necessarily. It would be good, but you don't need it for sure. However, even text communication would be great. I get the concern. Maybe they were worried about toxic players. I did mention that in another video as well. But at the same time, I'm just going to keep saying it until they add some form of comms, because I really hope they do. And I hope you guys comment if you agree on that as well. And if, you know, if I don't think they'll see this video, but overall, if enough people mention it, maybe they'll add comms in some sort of way for, of course, doing runs with randoms. Probably make them a lot more fun too. You're going to have more consistency that way, because your team will at least know where they're going. Anyway, we're going to finish off this boss and then talk about the specific relics for a Wylder building guide. Love the grapple follow-up attack. Love the additional ultimate, the additional ability to use the grapple twice. This is a really awesome build. Love running this one. You get the frost build up as well. Extra dexterity, extra strength. We're going to go over that in a second. We took down Sentient Pest and a couple other bosses in this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well. Let's jump into Relics. The first one, we have Wylder. Art activation spreads fire in area, strength +2, dexterity +2. For the next one, we have follow-up attacks possible when using character skill, greatsword only, HP restored when using cured meats, boluses, etc. Mind +2, don't really need that last one, so if you get a better roll, that's great. Wylder, 1 additional character skill use, starting armament inflicts frost, and strength +3. I hope this is really helpful for you guys. It's a really fun build to run for Wylder that gives you fire and frost, all of his abilities as well if you can run something similar. Don't forget, with his remembrance, you can get a lot of those. Catch you guys in the next one.